Okay, Assalamualaikum, very good evening everyone. So today we're going to talk about history of textile printing as we should have talked about 2 weeks ago. My apologies for the delay. I wasn't feeling well. I was back to a meeting and I had to go to Cebu for a while and there was no coverage whatsoever. Alright, so let's continue. So today we're going to talk about block printing, multiple types of printing available. Okay, let's talk about block printing. All right, it's one of the oldest types of printmaking that only existed as early as the 5th century. Okay, because actual fragments which were found during the 15th century. It has been done around the world with the roots in India, China, and Japan. All right. It's also called a relief printing, which is carved using wood, linoleum, and rubber to transfer ink into fabric and paper. It's similar to a stamp, but it's quite different. Okay, it's different than letterpress. Typically it's done by hand, so the ink sits on the surface, adding raised texture to paper. All right. Okay, this is the process. You first sketch out your design. You can use AI and Photoshop, but I would just use a pencil and a pen because you have to draw the block um, itself. All right. Just keep in mind it will be print the mirror image of the design. And then next you have to carve. Okay, this time you need to for this block printing you need to carve away parts that you won't be using. Okay, you only leave the parts that you want to be transferred onto the paper. Okay, be careful with thin lines. Of course this is time consuming, but it's vital that you take your time to get it right. Okay, if you rush this you might miss out a few key points of your design and it will just look horrible. All right, next you will ink the block. Okay, apply some printing ink to a flat surface. It is preferred to have glass, but you can't. You can just use metal, but avoid using wood because you have a inconsistent ink distribution. All right, roll the brayer. Brayer is the tool, kind of the smoothing tool. Um, over the block until an even coat is applied. Right, oil-based ink is the best coverage that will print well on both fabric and paper. Avoid using water-based, it will just runs down, it won't stay put after printing. Okay, and then print the image. Okay, you can either print it by hand or press, but you don't have a press available. A press is a machine. Okay, you can also use a large spoon or buy a roller or brayer. Okay, brayer is a roller. Place Place the paper on the ink block and roll it out with paper with roller. Okay, make sure to apply the pressure evenly since the color will be stronger in some area of the print. Let's say you use um, different pressure, like you press very hard and then slowly the pressure loosen at the end of the image, you might get a different shade, a different hue of the color that you printed out. All right, retouch and keep printing. It's often that it makes in the make mistakes. Okay, you can always go back and carve a bit more on the material to fix any error or modify the design. But in case you are happy with the result, same block can be used to print countless copies. All right. In the case of reduction prints, once you finish your series of print, you will carve the next layer out of the same block. All right. The same block can be used multiple a lot of times, so you don't have to worry. Okay, this is the examples that your friends found for types of block: metal blocks, wooden felt blocks, cast and ceramic blocks. All right, metal is quite expensive. All right, but it's easy. You can find it. Wooden blocks are even more expensive because of the time they took. But again, it's if you carve yourself, it doesn't cost much, but it will just cost your time. Okay, wooden blocks, as you can, is obviously the oldest types. It start with wood, all right. But you need to have like a very strong wood like oak and soft wood like pine. Okay, it's less suitable. Um, they won't retain us like the detail. Okay, you see the example here. I mean, the detailing here is quite um how you say it's quite detail oriented. So if you use like Softwood, it might not retain, it might just break off over the fine lines. Okay, for the wooden felt blocks, pattern are first drawn on wood and carved or mounted on handles. Okay, the blocks are dipped into non-toxic ink and stamped by hand on a large piece of fabric. This one is carved directly on the block itself and use it as a stamp. For this, you carve it out and then you paste it on another block. Okay, there's another handle, so you have a different handle. Metal blocks, of course, is engraving thin sheets or evenly cut metal strip into wooden blocks. Again, very time consuming, very difficult. Okay, the metal strips are beaten to make them thin and stripped out are cut on even line. The design is drawn on the wooden block and then pressed. Filling of the design is done from center to the outside. Once the blocks are once made, the blocks are checked to see the strip of the same height of the wooden base. If you were to do this, you need to make sure all designs, the elements need to be on the same height. If not, you have problem printing it. It won't go evenly. Okay, that's the downside of it. Same goes with wood as well. When you carve wood, you need to make sure that um, everything is on the same level. Nothing is too high or nothing is too low. Okay. Okay. Cast or stereo blocks are duplicate of blocks or type form when it's made by making a mold from the original. Okay, this mold will cast a plate of metal, rubber, or plastic. Essential that before the mold can be taken, all printing surfaces are type high. Any damage will duplicate in the stereo, so it is wise to replace them before making a mold. Right, it's basically a mold to the all these other design. Okay, but this is usually like if you want to print like the same design but in large quantity, so instead of like printing this part one by one, you just put them together so you have a very large printing surface. Okay, engrave roller printing, guys. All right, so integral methods is a opposite of really printing. Design is cut, scratch, etch into a printing surface or plate, then can be copper, zinc, aluminium, any metal plate, rub, and then it's basically just using a machine. Okay, we don't have this machine, but you can always see a lot of I think Europeans still do it. Hand engraving, machine engraving, pantograph engraving, photography engraving. Okay, so the printing ink is rub and roll into cuts. Okay, then the metal plate, often copper, is white over so that the ink is held only in the cuts. Then paper will be placed on the plate and then the layer fell over that and is rolled through a machine under pressure. This paper is pressed into ink held and engraved line transferring it into the paper. Okay, so usually this is like more towards paper made. That's why I say European usually do this all these types. Okay, you can have a read and you can also go into YouTube to see all those different engraving. It's very fun. Okay, but very tedious. This one I saw on TikTok, like this old grandfather, he still does I think this. Okay, it's very difficult, it's very time consuming, but he likes it. We still do it. Okay, so this is the characteristic. So large quantity of cloth can be printed economically by this method. Faulty joints at the repeats never occur and joints marked are accordingly absent in this method. Fine sharp lines, subtle graduation of thin shapes, thin and simple can be produced by these methods, which are impossible by block printing techniques. Half tone effects can also be produced by this method. The repeat of design in the roller is limited to the size of the roller. Okay, so compared to the blocks, hand carved blocks, it's a lot different. It's a lot harder, and you cannot produce large quantity of fabric. Maybe you can do small ones, but to have a large one is quite difficult. So you use all these kind of machines, roller printing, to be exact. But again, this also time consuming, and you just can get the difference is you can get a different variety of it. Okay. So the disadvantage, the method is not economically for short runs of fabrics. It is difficult to produce blotch designed by this method unless printing is carried out by this such styles. The number of colors used for printing pattern is only limited to 4 and 6. If you use the carved one, you can have multiple colors. Let's say you want to use red, you want to use black, you can go have fun with it. But for roller printing, since it's oral based, you usually just 4 to 6. Alright. So the repeat of design is limited to the size of roller. Okay, let's say your roller is not that big. Like where I think there's a photo of it in the beginning. Okay. So let's say your roller is only this big. So if you have like a wider width of a fabric, you cannot use this one. You need a bigger machine. Okay, that's what it meant. It's very difficult and it's very expensive. It's not cheap. Okay. This is what we will do if you were to come back next semester, hand screen printing. Okay, so this is the history of stenciling printing. All right. Stenciling printing is a technique of creating design with individual arts involving the flowing of ink and paint over holes made in cardboard metals on the surface to be painted. Stencil has been known in China since the 8th century, and the Eskimo and Baffin Islands were using stencil cut from seal skin to make prints before coming into touch into Western civilization. Alright, this is one of the oldest techniques out there, right? Stenciling printing. All right, let's see the process. Okay. Bear in mind there's a lot of ways to prepare to hand screen. Okay, this is one of it that your friends found. I will explain in more detail next semester when you actually can do it, because this part you really need to do it for you to understand. All right, this is first to clean screen. Okay, screen is usually made from silk screen. Okay, it's a type of fabric, so it is put on a frame. Okay, as you see here. Okay, it's put on a frame. So silk screen is this layer, the blue one, but before it's blue, it's actually white, transparent, semi-transparent. The fabric is here in the faculty, so if you come you can have a look. All right, first of course you need to clean the screen from any um, debris or um, dirt. Okay, make sure the screen is completely dry for you to come into this step. All right, frame emulsion the screen. Frame emulsion. Okay, emulsion, photo emulsion. It's called photo emulsion. Photo emulsion actually is a type of liquid that help to like hold the design later on. All right, this need to be done in a black room. There's no light allowed. All right, photo emulsion is very sensitive to light. So once it's exposed to light, you cannot use the screen anymore. All right. So first of all, you need to load the emulsion into a coater. This part is a coater. All right. And then tilt the coater and then pull it up. All right. You need to pull this consistently. All right. Up, and then from downwards again, move up again. All right. Until the whole screen is covered. All right. But you need to make sure that this layer is very thin. Okay, thin. It cannot be thick. It need to be thin. All right. So this is what I said. The process of screen exposure. If at this stage you expose the emulsion into on to light, okay, you cannot do this part anymore. All right. So after you create your design on this film, okay, we have this film here as well, um, using opaque liquid to draw a design. All right, you put it on the upward. Okay, one is tape properly. Okay, you will use an exposure machine, okay, to do this part. It's also here in the faculty. I can't really show you. If you're here next semester, we can have a look. All right. So turn on everything. Turn on the exposure lamp. So when it's computer, turn off and open the exposure. Remove art from the screen frame. Okay. This is after it's vacuum. Okay. So remove the unexposed emulsion by first rinsing the print side. Okay, you need to wash it with a water nozzle. So after you wash it, um, I say after you wash it, it will looks like this. The part that you have designed here, okay, it will come out here. All right, it's being exposed into the emulsion. All right, so after that, you are free to print. Okay, so again, you need to do this. We will do it next semester. You don't have to worry. Okay, so you will use a squeegee. This is a squeegee. All right, first put a ink, and then if you want to use a next layer, you can use a different ink. Okay, so why is it used for only small quantity printing only? Okay. Hand screen printing can be an expensive process. It is time consuming to make each screen and load them into a machine for each color. Alright. Um Again, you you will understand better when you do it. I can't really explain to you now because all the machine is quite big and I don't have the proper tool to record. So I wish next semester if you could come back, we can learn it together. Alright. So you need to usually printing is used for small purposes like t-shirt. If you see like a lot of printers out there are just printing for t-shirts and whatnot, they don't really print for fabric. But when I was studying, I was printing for like 5 meter length of fabric for my final project. So it can be done. Again, it is a tedious effort, and it takes so much time for you to do it, but it is worth it. Okay, so this is the one that a lot of what do you say, company out there use, automatic flatbed printing. All right. So this is the history. Okay, flatbed printing is a process and technique of printing using the flatbed printer or flatbed UV printer where the images are directly printed onto large variety of substrates. Substrates mean like fabric or glass, wood, leather, anything it can be. All right. So it's different because this printer use acrylic monomers, and when it's exposed to UV light, the monomers cure. That means the design is set. It won't move anywhere anymore. Okay. This was invented by the German inventor Friedrich in 1811. Okay, so why is it more successful? Of course, because rotary printing, the before, is lower sharpness and whatnot. The more color of the design, the fabric wastage is more during the setting of design fabric. The cost is high per screen. The cost is only 5 to 6K. Okay, it depends on the diameter of the rotary screen. For flatbed printing, sharpness and smoothness is better. Okay, wastage is lower and the cost is less. Okay, per screen that means per color. Okay, uh, it's cost about 3 to 4K. It's a lot of difference. All right. So, rotary screen is unprofitable for short quantity of production. Screen preparation is complicated. It takes time to expose, evaluate the screen. Each screen takes 25 to 35 minutes to expose. All kind of design cannot be printed on the rotary screen machine. It's limited, alright? It's very, very limited. For for flatbed, alright, it's easier, okay? You can print any type of design. You don't have to worry. Your imagination is limitless. Okay, this is the process. So if you see the printing that your friend found your picture here, okay, so it's uh there's a lot of this is kind of this is still the old one. Okay, there's newer ones now there's more automatic. So this is one, the old one. So you have the flat bed, you have the conveyor bed, you have the screens. Here is the screen, one, two, three. Special mechanism to lowering the screen into required parts. Okay, you don't have to take pull up the parts on your own so many times. Okay, the special conveyor under the table collect extra paste. Okay, there's a part here collect extra paste, and the arrangement to coming and the dryer. Literally after you print, it will dry completely. You don't have to worry. Okay, these are the steps. You can have a look by yourself. You can read, and also again, you can also Google the types of here the steps. Again, we don't have this, so I can't even show you. You can always have a look on your own on YouTube. All right. Okay, this is the term used in flatbed printing. All right. So let's see the design characteristic and limitation. All right. So this is our design. So you have a look here. Okay. And this is the new one. All right. There are hybrid flatbed printer, UV flatbed printer, flatbed inkjet printer, textile flatbed printer. Okay. So this is the UV one. This is the inkjet. The inkjet is better. I mean, obviously, it's a lot easier. You can print anything, and it's automatic. Okay. So all right, UV. Once you hear UV, you will know that inside here there's a UV lamp, so it's exposed. All right. So limitation: large volume cost more, lower portability, difficult in material handling, coloring limitation, weaker in technologies. Okay. So countries. These are the countries that use it. Even in Malaysia, they have some. Right. But even those are in Malaysia, is usually imported. Okay. So thank you. Okay, so let's have a look at pigments. Okay, rotary screen printing. Uh, okay, this is the first rotary printing out there. Al Jabbar machine is made in 1963. Okay, so again, true to its name, it's rotary. It's rotating. Okay, so this is how it looks now. All right, so this is the most widely used print method. Like I said, a lot of the people use it now because it's easy, it's fast. Okay, this costs a bit more. Of course, China is the leading manufacturer. All right, so it can generate profit, but of course, this one you cannot control the mistake. If the machine start to make mistakes, then you are in trouble. Okay, you're not printing in small quantities. All right. Can read. Okay, this is basically the step just now that you saw. So this is the film, seat screen, frame, and then putting after exposing print, you can just ink, and then you can already print. Okay, this is hand screen process. This is the same as just now, rotary screen. Okay, this is new. This is engraved roller printing. This is very expensive because not a lot of people do it. I think in Europe they still have it because they love their engraved things. So you can have a look. Of course, it's rotating. Okay, this is the color below. This is the color trace. Okay, rotating, so it prints out every time. All right, inkjet printing machine. Okay, like I said, inkjet is the produce fine, smooth, colorful details at higher resolution, allows users to print larger formats. So it's suitable for ceramic, textile, signage, 3D printing, anything is can use inkjet printing. Okay. Um, it's just that I think this one that you really need to know how to use AI and Photoshop very well, because if you cannot edit very well in Photoshop and AI, it might just destroy your design whatsoever. Okay. So the first inkjet printer for Texas was introduced in 1992. It was a machine for sampling. It is known for as a sample printer. Okay, this technology includes very small nozzle, 10 microns. It's very small. Okay, this droplet has an electronic charge. The uncharged one take off. Okay, so by changing the size of droplets, users can change the size of the print. The sampler printer was large enough to produce mass size. Okay, this is an advantage. Okay, colorways, various colorways are available. Reduced downtime, exactly on time delivery, reduce waste. All right, no waste in ink, minimum labor requirements. There's no finished good inventories. Allow for extensive customization. All right. Limitation is, yeah, it's quite slow. The color pearl metallic white are not yet available. If you want white, you need your fabric to be white. Okay. The cost effective. Um, it doesn't use a lot of labor, so it's actually a lot more cheaper than silk screen printing. That's why a lot of the manufacturers out there use a lot of inkjet because it's cost saving. Alright, this is the example and cat. Um, this is one of those inkjet printers. Alright, of course, Mimaki also. Pigment printing. What are pigments? Pigments are basically colors. Russell has seen it in the studio. Alright, it have various color. Alright, so a brief history of pigment. Pigment printing is an old method of printing right back to the Middle Ages. Okay, so blood, ink produce white and metallic pigment. Let's not use blood, guys. Just use chemical, please. Okay, all right. So why use pigments, mixed fibers, less people, machinery, cost that stuff are needed. Pigments are printed on pre-finished fabric. Colors are more like fast and very vibrant since the war. More experimentation has been done, right? So these are the problems. This is the material needed. This is here in the faculty. This is also here in the faculty. This is not here. This is also here. I forgot. All right. So you need to have all this. So like I say, if you're here, we can always try. We need to try next semester. Okay. There are two types of pigments, white and also metallic. Thickening system, water in oil or in water, of course. Usually we just use printing paste here in Unimas. Okay. Flock printing. Flock printing. It's difficult. They don't use it anymore. So if you want to try, by all means you can try. It's the same as silk screen. It's just that you use a different types of material. Okay. Thank you. So guys, I hope that this will help you for your writing. I just want to see your opinions of what kind of printing that you think is suitable, what kind of printing you feel that is more you want to try and why. I just want to hear your thoughts on printing, okay? Because there's a lot, I know. So I want you to read, research, and just share your opinion on what kind of printing you want to try, why you want to try it, how do you expect the outcome to be. That's it. Okay, follow the formats I already given you in the rubric and you should be fine. Thank you very much.